Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special session, this special interaction, and a very proud moment for me personally. It is proud because Ashwin, who is one of my oldest students, he has been a part of the mentorship program since the beginning of the mentorship program. He has been following the emails and the lessons, and he has been working very hard over the past few years. This year, Ashwin has cleared the UPSC exam and he has secured All India rank 235, which puts him right in the spot of getting a service allocation of either an IPS or the IRS. And this is what I would like to see in all my students, all my sincere students. Ashwin is an example of that. And today we have him here to discuss about the reality of the UPSC preparation which he faced, the mistakes which he committed, and everything that we can gain from his experience having gone through this entire process. So Ashwin, you are most welcome to the session, and I'm very happy to have you here. It's a proud moment for me, like I said, and I want to see many students, all my students, if I can, if it is within my power, to have them sitting where you are right now. It has been a dream of mine to have people, my own students, sitting across me and me having doing this interview with them. So first of all, thank you for making this happen to begin with.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for everything.
And now, Ashwin, I would like to straight away take you to the details of your preparation. Ashwin, please tell us, what do you think are the top 3 mistakes which you committed in your previous attempts, which can be avoided?
Sir, the first mistake that I did was in the prelim stage itself. My first attempt, I could not clear prelims because I had some issues with the basic subjects. Like history, I was very poor at. So without completing history, clearing prelims is very bad. So first you should complete your standard books. So that is my first mistake. The second mistake was in the main stage where I scored very less in anthropology, like the optional part. So in the second attempt, even though I went until interview, I could not clear the interview stage. So the third attempt is regarding the writing of answers. So in the first attempt, I could not complete the entire paper. So this is one more thing which students should work upon. So these are the 3 big mistakes that I did. So if we could cover these things, it can be very useful in your examination.
Excellent, Ashwin, and that's absolutely true. So if I paraphrase and if I put it in points, you are saying that first issue is that you should cover the static portions. This is what you are saying? Cover the Bipin Chandra,
Yes,
cover the spectrum, cover the polity, Lakshmikant, the basic stuff which you have to do anyway.
Yes, sir.
And then you are saying that do some deep diving in your optional subject because you can't really clear it without that. And then you are saying have some practice for answer writing all throughout. Perfect. Now, Ashwin, what do you think are the top 3 things which helped you qualify, which are special, which are unique, which you did, which others don't do, which other students can benefit from? The top 3 best decisions you took and the best things you did.
Sir, one was the consistency. Whenever I had this low moment, I used to reward myself. For example, you have done your assignment, one assignment. Then I used to reward myself by taking out with my friends or going to a movie, so that I have some excitement to continue the cycle. So one is consistency. Second is the revision. More revision is one more thing which you must do. Like even though you have notes, you will not be revising. So that is one more thing that you should do. Third is the good support system that you should have, sir. So this is one of the biggest thing that we must definitely have, because in this journey we are having so many mental disturbances. So you should definitely have one support system. It can be your parents or friends. So these are the 3 things that mainly help me to clear this examination.
Right. And apart from family, what I find very interesting is that you mentioned these reward mechanisms which you have given yourselves. And it also appears to me, Ashwin, that you have been able to create some sort of balance between your preparation and your social life. That is also very important. And how would you reward yourself? What were your one or two ideal rewards which would really work and get you refreshed to start working hard again?
So I am from southern states, sir. Here, even from our childhood, we have this aura regarding cinemas. So movies is one thing which I used to reward. Like if I do my 1 week entire targets, then I used to go to a movie. So this is one of the big things with my friends. Second is I used to meet some of the peoples outside the UPSC circle.
Right.
Like I used to meet friends from my IT background. So they used to have this weekend offs. So if I could complete my work till weekend, I used to go meet them for 1 or 2 hours. So in such a way, I used to refresh myself and I used to keep the contacts intact.
Yes, that makes sense. So you were trying to make sure your life is not only restricted to UPSC, but the horizons are broad enough.
True, sir.
Perfect. Ashwin, I would like to ask your genuine opinion about what do you think was the role of curiosity and interest in your entire preparation, in your entire intellectual preparation, all of this reading and studying which you must have done. What role did curiosity and interest play?
Sir, if we see the cornerstone of UPSC preparation, it is the curiosity part of it. Once if you are not curious, you will not learn more things. You will be scratching only the surface. You will not go deep dive. For example, for the first year, I did not know what sedation means. So after first year of preparation, due to my curiosity, I read about the cases regarding sedation. So at the end of the day, it is your own curiosity about the things that is happening around you. Say, for example, there is a 5G technology that is coming ahead. So you are going to use the technology. So it should be your basic curiosity to know how it works and how can it impact your life. These are the questions even the UPSC asks. So curiosity, as you said, is the cornerstone. Once you don't have curiosity, then you'll also not enjoy the process of preparation. So it is all not the end goal, but also the process is also very important.
That's very well said. And in fact, hearing you answer these brings me back the memories of the mock interview which we did, one-on-one mock interview. So about that, I would like to tell the students that Ashwin is an aerospace engineer. And since he had been a very old student of mine, when he cleared the mains, we did some one-on-one mock interviews. And in his DAF, it was very clear to me that aerospace engineering is just something which is just shining and it is going to attract attention. I told him some questions from the Indian space programs and stuff like that were likely, and that ended up happening. So Ashwin, about your inclinations, but let me first also ask you about your optional subject, which was anthropology, and that's very important. Ashwin has scored exceptionally high in anthropology this year. All students should hear what he has to say. He has an exceptional score in anthropology. You got 283, if I believe.
Yes, sir. I got 283.
283 is pretty high. So Ashwin, what led to this 50 mark jump from your previous attempt to this attempt in anthro? What happened this time?
So after the last year marks came out, I saw that the anthro marks are very low. So everyone used to say that optional is the one thing which can make or break your selection. So in the previous case, it broke my selection. So I have decided that I should improve the marks in anthropology part. So first thing I did was I have already prepared some notes on previous year questions. So that thing I refined more for this attempt. I added more examples which are current relevant. So this is the first thing that I did. Second thing, in the last year examination, I did not even quote even one anthropologist. I just wrote the concepts. So there is lack of authenticity in my answers. Like if I'm writing functionalism and I did not quote Malinowski, then it is a blunder on my side. So that is one more thing that I covered. Like I prepared some anthropologist names and their works. So that I have included in this year edition. So third thing is the good guidance that I got from one of the mentors in Hyderabad. So I used to give him daily 2 answers. So he used to evaluate and send it back to me. And based on those feedback, I worked upon. Fourth, I did a lot of writing practice so that the time management is very important in anthropology. Sir. Last time I could not attempt all questions. I left one question in the last attempt. So this time I also covered that mistake. So these are the 4 main things that I changed from last year to this year.
Right. And so here again, I believe the same theme is emerging, the same pattern is emerging. You took curiosity and you dove deeper into the academic theoretical part of it. So you got to know the main contributors and the thinkers and so on.
Cool.
And then you were supplementing that with practice.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
But what I find most interesting in Ashwin's case, to all students, I want to say this, because he's a very good example. One fact which comes out of his case is that number one, he did not travel to Delhi to take coaching specifically. He came to Delhi for some interviews and so on. Am I right, Ashwin?
Yes, sir. I came for a few mock interviews. That is also in the last week of my interview.
This is very interesting. Many students have this query. Ashwin, please tell us whether it was necessary to come to Delhi or not. And if you did not come to Delhi for coaching, what was the approach? And how were you able to remotely, online and otherwise, get yourself to prepare for this exam and actually clear it also?
So Delhi is one thing which everyone says, for you, if you want to clear UPSC, you should go there, because one, there is very good environment, there is good ecosystem that we could not neglect, but there is also very high competition, because there are so many people and you will be more anxious if you go there. That is one thing that I did not want to face myself with. So since 2020, and also the COVID-19 came to me in a blessing, the lockdown, because I could not travel anywhere and I stayed back at home only. So from 2020 COVID itself, I came back home and I'm studying. So one good thing that happened due to COVID is the availability of online resources. Like the everything became virtual, everything you can find online. So I followed some very good platforms. For example, Insights is one platform that I used to follow, where I used to write some answers and they used to provide current affairs. So even the books that I followed was mostly ebooks, because if you, there is no need to have even the hard book. If you are good with reading ebooks, you can continue reading ebooks also. And also the evaluation part, I genuinely believe that in UPSC, if you want to clear, you should have a very good mentor. And if you could evaluate your answers and give you feedback, that is one thing which can help you. And due to this COVID-19 lockdown, every institute had taken this online route. So there I could find some good mentors where I used to write answers and they used to evaluate. So one and all, at the end of it, it's just the internet, sir. Internet had become a good leveler for everyone. There is no need to travel places. Everything had come to your laptop screen.
Right.
One, you should be aware of what you are searching for. That's the only thing that you should keep in mind.
Right. But also another thing, Ashwin, that you did not take coaching for the content, if I'm correct. You did not take any large GS batch, the whole big package which coaching institutes at sometimes they offer. And you were looking for and taking coaching and investing only in areas which you needed. For example, I think you took some coaching, and we spoke about this before. You took some for answer writing, but you did not take the entire anthropology coaching.
No, sir.
Right.
Mostly for test series only I focused upon, because content is more or less available everywhere. IGNO is one thing I used to follow. They
IGNO.
used to have very good
Yes.
videos also.
Yes.
That you can follow, open source.
MA Anthropology IGNO, you mean? You have followed?
Hi, sir. I even enrolled for MA Anthropology, but I did not complete it.
Yeah.
There they used to provide us videos and textbooks also.
So this is very good. Anthropology, MA IGNO students recommend and ask me what exactly should we do, what study material. So I'm telling you, I myself have done MA Psychology from IGNO, and that too after I did the UPSC. Their notes, they're not very interesting to be honest, but they're authentic. The data is authentic. It is, and you can rely on it. It is very authoritative, and they will cover everything. And sooner or later, because you see, it's a government body at the end of the day. So they are bound by the same rules, and their content will be more credible at the end of the day. So I think that is what really goes to their favor. But that is very interesting in your case, Ashwin. Even in anthropology, especially in optional, people tend to go towards coaching, and they don't typically, skip it. But since perhaps you had more training and more attempts, you were able to do so. Tell us, Ashwin, about current affairs. It's a burning issue. It's a very large portion of the exam. To what extent were you following the newspaper? To what extent were you doing monthly magazines and so on? And what helped you in it?
So since my starting of preparation, I used to read newspaper at least 1.5 hours. I used to follow the Hindu religiously. I used to do the editorials. So I found this pattern in newspapers. So I will also share that pattern with you. It may be helpful for you. So if there is a news article in Monday as a headline, that is one, it is just as a news article itself. So you should read some data points and take some data points. And on Tuesday, there will be editorial on that issue. Like the side page, they'll write what is the positives and negatives of it. Then the next 2 days, there will be open discussions. There will be some gentlemen who will be writing their own opinions. And on the Friday, there will be some debate going on around the same issue. So if you follow the paper for 1 week, you'll get everything. Like what is the data point, what are the positives and negatives, what should be the way forward. So it is your one standard answer that you can make out of 1 week's newspaper. So this is one thing I used to follow, and I used to make some notes out of this. And then there is this very good page in Indian Express called the Explain. So there they used to discuss 4 topics every day. So there you can get very good understanding of concepts that you did not understand. So this is one thing that I used to follow. And recently, even in the Hindu, there is this page called the Text in Context. So that is also a very good page that you can follow. Then after completing all this, I used to see one news analysis video. I used to follow Rao's IAS on YouTube. So there they used to link the current affair topic with the previous year question. So for example, if they asked a question in prelims last year, so they used to compare how they could ask a question from this news article. That helped me in the starting phase of my preparation. Later on, I did not follow, but in the first phase, it really helped me a lot. Then at the end, I used to follow at least one monthly magazine, because even though you do all these religiously, there will be one or two news articles which you will be missing. So follow any one monthly magazine and you revise it multiple times. So these are the three things. Mostly they are all open sources. They will not charge anything also. Mostly it will be available free on the internet.
Yes, and you were basically doing it consistently, being the key
Sir.
factor, and you never stopped it in the middle.
Yes, sir.
And you continued with the Hindu because I believe you must have done it for at least 2 years consistently.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. At least 2 years I did.
Yes, and that pattern of the way they cover any topic in public discourse by giving first and some data points and then some editorial and then some explanation and debates. That's a very good point. That can be used.
Yes, sir.
That's a very good point. And apart from that, Ashwin, tell us about mains and what you feel about the pattern of mains exam.
Sir, in my opinion, mains is one examination which is very much predictable in a sense, because even if you see the main syllabus, it is more elaborative than prelim syllabus. Like the entire GS1, they will break down into subparts and they'll give you the entire wording.
Yes.
So all the questions will be repeating from that syllabus only. So the thing that you should do is that you should make a one-page notes out of the each word in the syllabus, and you should prepare at least one page.
Yes.
I will give you an example, so it will be more useful for the audience. So say for example, in paper 2, there is this concept called NGOs. So you can prepare a notes in such a way that in your first line, you should introduce what is NGO. And for authenticity, you can quote some World Bank or some any other international organization if there is any definition for it. Then you should find out the evolution of these NGOs in our country itself. Like how did it evolve entirely? Then you should make some 3 or 4 points on positives and negatives. Those 3 or 4 points you can write. And in my opinion, I genuinely feel that every issue has some negative connotation attached to it. Even though, however positive it is, there are some issues regarding it.
Yes. So there is the issue of foreign exchange and money coming in, which is not accountable, and all of these things. Though you're right, some form of 360-degree analysis. And this, what you are mentioning, I don't know if you have experienced, but in this mentorship program, we did this UPSC syllabus challenge. But for you, it would have been too late. So you would have already reached a higher level, so you would not have benefit. But in the UPSC syllabus challenge, the syllabus is broken down into 120 or so keywords.
Okay.
And students are asked to run quick Google searches on those keywords. And naturally, NGOs and everything that is listed in the mains has basically been broken down into these.
Okay.
And to have some
definitely benefit from it.
Definitely, that's the whole idea of it. In fact, because if you say Google NGO, you will get some data. But if you click on Google News for NGO, you will see why it is in the news. And if you just look, even a cursory reading, you will find what is the controversy attached sooner or later. And definitely this type of analysis, this type of 360-degree view is extremely important. So Ashwin, a burning question which many students have: book list. What is your recommended book list? Would you mind telling us for starting with history? What would you suggest for history? What have you personally read yourself?
The history for ancient and medieval, I followed only one book. That is the Tamil Nadu State Textbook, 11th class. It is the most elaborative that I feel, but it is very bland. There are no pictures that you should work upon. Then for art and culture, I followed Nitin Singhania, but selective reading. I followed some 6 or 7 chapters from it. For modern history, I followed Bipin Chandra, but Bipin Chandra is very good, but it is more nice. And also Spectrum is also very good. You can either choose one of these two things.
Yes, I think Spectrum is nothing but a more factually oriented version of Bipin Chandra.
True, sir.
Same things. Yeah, same things, more points, more details. No paragraphs, only points.
True. It will be more helpful for prelims.
Yes, I mean, it helps you revise faster. But I think if you want context, you want to really understand what happened, some passages, many passages in Bipin Chandra, at least there is some English to visualize what must have happened.
Yes, sir.
The spectrum, I don't. My only issue with it is that if it's your first reading and of history, and if you are starting with spectrum, maybe you will compromise on some conceptual clarity, perhaps.
So I agree with it, sir. You should definitely read Bipin Chandra for more holistic picture. Then for quick revision, maybe you can gaze through the last page of spectrum because they made it into tables so that
Yes.
it is easy for your revision.
Exactly. And Ashwin, what about polity?
Sir, polity only one book, the Lakshmikant and the 11th class NCRT. Mostly Lakshmikant only.
Mostly Lakshmikant covers everything. And I'm sure the current based parts of it you would have been getting from
current affairs, news articles.
Current affairs, news, sedition you mentioned, ordinances, whatever is happening, governor, any discussions and debates.
And you should definitely correlate that with the static portion. Like there is president election that is coming up. So you should know how president election happens.
Yes.
So that correlation you should establish.
Agreed. And Ashwin, what about economics? That's also a burning issue. Which books, if at all, would you recommend for economics, which you have yourself read? And to what extent is economics dependent on current affairs?
Sir, in my opinion, economics is mostly current affairs. Like the happenings, everything is mostly current affairs. And economics per se is completely current affairs. Ramesh Singh is one book which is very good, but I did not complete it cover to cover. I picked up some topics from Ramesh Singh. Then for films, there is a book called Shankar Ganeshan, which is only very small book, which you could revise very fastly. So these are the two things that I followed. And there are some value-added materials from some institutes for specific part of the syllabus that I have taken it from those institutes and I introduced in my notes.
And
in my opinion, I feel that economics is mostly logical, sir. Like if you can understand the balancing aspect, economics you can cope up. Like it's more common sense based than other subjects, I feel.
Yes. If you get the core of it.
Yes, sir, true.
If you can understand at some level that if there is inflation, sooner or later RBI will withdraw the money from the economy. And for that, they may increase CRR, or something, whatever mechanisms they have. So the entire system, what he's saying is essentially working knowledge of economics, practical working knowledge of economics. And what is otherwise called as systems approach. Understand the entire economic system to a broad level. The questions will be from there.
Yes, sir, true.
And Ashwin then leaves us with geography. Geography, what would you say?
Sir, geography only the 11th and 12th NCRT are more than enough. It covers everything entirely to cover. You should just revise it multiple times. That's it for geography, sir.
And then
more than that.
Also, because Ashwin, I believe in my understanding and my own experiences, the human side of geography, human geography or economic geography is nothing but economics. So it will get overlapped and will all get intermixed and enmeshed, and the questions will ultimately come from current affairs only, not from economics, not from geography actually. And so whether that's infrastructure, or that is any development or any new law even, or any displacement or any dams being built, very hard to put it in economics or geography.
Yes, sir. It is in that gray area between both the subjects.
Yes. And so what about science and technology? This is obviously your own area of expertise. You are a science graduate, aerospace engineer. Where did you do it from? And again, my same question, what role did current affairs have to play in it?
Sir, science and technology I did not do separately. Like I did not take any book for that. I used to follow the science page in Hindu. Every Sunday they used to give this science page where they'll be talking about 3 or 4 new technologies. So that I used to follow. Then I used to follow one current affair, one monthly magazine. In that I used to read the science and technology page. And then I used to read some very static syllabus, like what is the 3-plan program of nuclear program, or how does ISRO evolve, what are the functions that ISRO is doing. Like there are some static things that you should revise. And what is fusion and fission? Such things you should know about, and mostly current affairs only, sir. Science and tech is mostly current affairs.
Mostly it is current affairs, agreed. And that includes all the defense-related developments.
Yes, sir.
Any development of in an aircraft or a submarine or even some radar systems, anti-missile systems, whatever. It all falls in that category. And I believe for science and tech monthly magazines, they cover it extensively. They will put articles which you would not even encounter in the newspaper.
Sir, then there is also a very good thing to do. There is this Ministry of Science and Technology annual report.
Yes.
So they will cover some very good aspects that you should once glance through.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. Things which don't even come to your mind. Like, for example, any new supercomputer which they have installed or a new facility, stuff like that they may ask. And another thing I believe in science and technology which usually gets missed out, but which might be more important for mains, is the contribution of Indian scientists. And that too, I think there is some element in the Ministry of Science and Technology. I sent one compilation this year, although it would have been too late. You would have already moved on to your mains by that time for prelims this year. And so that contained all those important things. In fact, there is one section in the Department of Science and Technology, DOST website, where they have listed all the important scientific developments, not only in India, but around the world. So any new hybrid variety of seed, development in nanotechnology, it is all there. So definitely, but again, it doesn't change the fact that all of it was current based. Whether you read it from there or monthly magazine, just you should know something like that has happened.
It is all overlapping only. Even the monthly magazines take it from there on.
Definitely. Yes, they in fact do. They in fact do. Yes. And so, Ashwin, then that leaves us with we've spoken about polity, economics, geography, history, and that leaves us with what? It leaves us with environment. Yes, basically only environment.
Sir, environment is one thing which nowadays questions are mostly coming from that part of syllabus, because even the forest service prelims is with civil service only. So I followed the Shankar IAS book. There is one book in the market called a green color one. So that is one book I followed from cover to cover. And then you should follow the current events. One of the biggest events that is happening around it. Say, for example, there is this COP26 that happened during our main preparation.
Yes.
I should definitely read upon it. And if there are anything such events happening in India, then it is more than important to read and understand those things around happening in India.
Right, exactly. And Ashwin, since we've covered prelims essentially, what duration of current affairs should be covered for prelims? 1 year or more or less?
Sir, if we are seeing the recent trend, it is if it advised to read for at least 18 months, 18 to 20 months, more than 1 year only, I would suggest. But even the current affairs, it's mostly, you should do a lot of practice before attempting prelims. You should attend more mock tests. You should write it. There is this thing called intuition in your prelims paper. Once you can get that intuition, you can clear the prelims in your opinion, sir. It is more hard-based mock. If you solve a lot of questions, then only you'll get this intuition.
That's very interesting, Ashwin. Tell us more about this intuition.
Sir, so maybe you will solve. In my case, I solved around 50 to 70 tests before writing the prelims. Original test, I solved around 50 to 70 different institute keys. So I used to revise those answers only. What are my mistakes? Why did I make a mistake? And I used to read the solution that they have given. So once you do this thing for at least 1 year, then you can get this intuition. This may be the right answer. In the 50-50, it will help you a lot once you're eliminating. It may be not your consciously, you can't remember this, but subconsciously you'll know that this can be wrong, reading from the statement or from your memory that you have over the years. So once you can develop that thing, then it can help you a lot in prelims.
Yes, there is a sense. You just get a strange sense that this has to be the one. And
incorrect.
You're right. Especially in 50-50. You just tend to go with your gut. Somehow there is a gut feeling which starts to develop.
Yes, sir.
And you learn this from experience. But yes, like you are saying, so you were giving 50 to 70 mock tests for every attempt, before every prelims that you had attempted.
So the first prelims I could not give so many tests. For the second, I gave those many tests. So I even cleared the forest cutoff also. And the third one, I did not get the time to give so many. So it is morely for the second attempt, I given 50 to 70 tests. Then I developed this intuition that only I use even in the third attempt also. Because for the third attempt, I got only 5 days between final result and prelims.
Right.
So that there I could not solve many tests.
Right. And then, so if I was to ask you, Ashwin, how many years has it taken for you to be here today, starting from when you actually, the day you decided that you are invested in it, that you are doing it, how many years has it taken?
Sir, it is around 3.5 years. I started this journey in 2018 December or 2019 January, around that phase.
And
then
Ashwin, let me ask you,
key.
yes, the very important question, Ashwin. if you calculate the number of hours which you have invested over this period of 3.5 years, roughly speaking, not accurately, what would be the average number of hours you have spent in a day, approximately, roughly?
Sir, if you see the starting phase of my preparation, like in the 2019, I used to give around 8 to 10 hours because I don't have any notes. I should make my own notes. So there, a lot of time had gone in making notes only. In the later stage of my preparation, it is only revision of those notes and attempting more tests. So in a day, I used to sit for 6 to 8 hours, and weekends maybe 1 or 2 hours extra, because on that day you can read more because you will have very less avocations on that day. So that is one thing. So mostly average it will be 6 to 8 hours mostly over this 3 years journey.
Right. And that's a good, honest response. But people say 10 hours, it's ridiculous. I don't think it's humanly possible. I mean, you can sit for 10 hours, yes, but I don't think your brain can receive information for 10 hours.
You can't concentrate. Your effective study can be 6 hours at max, in your opinion.
6 hours, yes. I believe 6 hours is a sweet spot. In my opinion, slightly even, I think 5 is optimal. 5, you get real, actual value for money as far as your concentration is concerned. But in any case, and you would do these 6 to 8 hours in 2 sittings or 3 typically?
I used to do in 3 sittings.
3.
Morning, one session I used to read Anthro, like the early morning. Then in the middle phase, there will be more disturbances when I'm sitting in home. So then I used to read which I'm very confident upon. So some static person. And in the evenings, I used to generally read newspaper and I used to write one test. Alternate days, I used to write tests.
Yes, makes absolute sense. I don't know if you arrived at this intuitively, or because what you are doing is essentially putting the more difficult cognitive demanding task, you are putting it first in the day when your brain is fresh.
Okay.
And where you need, because Anthro you must be doing in some detail. I mean, it's not easy to read that literature.
Yes, sir.
You're putting it up in the day, which is what I also recommend, which I don't know where you got it from, but it's very good that you did that. And so, Ashwin, what does the future hold for you? And also, what is the role of motivation and dedication, and where did your motivation and dedication come from to propel you to do this 6 to 8 hours worth of labor every day for 3 years at a stretch?
Sir, there are 2 big motivations in my case. One is my father. So my father is a private school teacher. So he used to go around 6 o'clock in the morning. He used to teach and he used to come back 6 in the night. So he used to do 12 hours tasks every day. So live motivation is him. I used to see him and he is doing such work at his very old age. Why can't I do? That is one motivation. Second motivation is during my college. I met various scientists and professors. I got this opportunity to meet most of them.
So yes, Ashwin. Ashwin, you were telling us about your motivations, one being your father and...
So second, I met so many professors and scientists during my college days. So they used to say that even though you are giving your 100%, there is always a chance for failure. So you should keep that in mind and you should work harder. So those are one golden words that I followed. For example, there is this aerospace scientist who worked on SLV, the first SLV that we launched. So he told that when he had prepared everything and everything was fine, they launched it, but the entire aircraft got smashed upon because there was this very small dust particle that came into the propulsion system, it seems. So that was one thing they did not expect. So he told me, even though you're 100% prepared, there is always a chance for failure. So you should also be coping up with that failure. And those are one of the golden words that I followed during my entire preparation. So I used to repeat those words in my mind.
Right. And so this would provide some psychological buffer to you.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Right. And then Ashwin, tell us where you found the power to have this consistency, and what would you suggest for somebody who has trouble in it? Many students have trouble with this only issue, consistency. They have the intelligence, they have the material, they have everything except this consistency. What would you suggest?
Sir, as I already discussed, it is always about the reward system that you enable in yourself. So it should be a self-rewarding system. It may be your own interest which you can do. Maybe it's your own hobby that you should do to practice it in 1 or 2 days, or whenever you are at your lowest point, you should find those alternate solutions, because UPSC preparation is very tiring on yourself. So you should yourself find those reward systems you can enable at least once in a week. Then second thing is definitely the support system. Support system, in my opinion, is one biggest thing that you should have. It can be anyone. It can be your friends, family, or anyone, where you could discuss the things or your problems.
Yes. And to what extent, Ashwin, is the role of a mentor important? Is the role of somebody there, their presence, their contributions, their insights, to what extent does it help? And does it feel that you are on a lonely journey throughout this entire 1 or 2 or 3 years? Did it feel like you were in a lonely journey and the presence of your mentor, and you found on the, for anthropology, some people on the internet, you were connected with me for a while, and you may have also run into people who would have added value along the process. What is the role that these people play essentially, really? Because it is the studying that you are doing yourself, really. They don't study for you. What role do they play?
Sir, mentors are those people who have a lot of experience. They have more experience than what we have in the examination or in life in general. So they can provide you with insights when you're at your lowest point. They may give you some motivation at that point of time which you need. Second thing is, in this examination, you should learn from your mistakes. It can be on your own, or your mentor can do it for yourself. Like if I used to send my answers to so many people, they used to give me varied feedback. I used to be open about the feedback and I used to improve upon it. So there your mentor is very much needed for you. Third, in my case, and when I am discussing with you regarding my interview, you have almost guessed most of the questions that they could ask me in the interview itself. So it made my mind more comfortable and I'm more prepared. So in such interview situation, I will definitely say you should have at least 1 or 2 mentors so that they can do your own analysis and they could say where you should work upon. So like this, there are many other ways which mentors can help. You should definitely have one mentor because, as I said, it is mostly a lonely journey. Even your friends will be more settled than you. There are so much happening around you. Then you should have someone who can like empathize with you and who can listen to you. So there the mentor role is very much huge.
Thank you very, very much, Ashwin. And
thank you, sir.
I cannot tell you how proud I am really today. And also, I would like to tell everyone that Ashwin himself has volunteered. Ashwin has volunteered to help students of this mentorship program with some sessions of anthropology, which he's obviously very good at. So he will try to help with anthropology. Maybe there will be a live session with him, and then you can ask anthro-specific questions, and you can follow the strategy which he used. And he will also be contributing his book list. He has already told, but he will continue to help and aid the students of this mentorship program. And with that, we must bid him best of luck for his journey, for the real journey which is about to begin, Ashwin, because that is something which only experience will prepare you for, because the real game will now begin, actually. And well, you will look back on these days of the UPSC journey as one of the best days of your life. But I hope that after whatever I've judged you from so long, I know that you will do very well in that also. So with that,
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ashwin. All the best. I wish you have a very good future. And thank you for doing what you have done and showing guidance to other people who can follow you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ashwin. Bye.
Thank you, sir.